guys, it's Isaiah. This is Rivian Updates. I have now installed the Hansshow automatic side steps on my R1T, and I gotta say, I do love them. Now, the biggest gripe that I have with side steps is the fact that, well, they're kind of ugly, no offense, but I think it takes away from the beautiful nature of my R1T, the nice design. These clunky things aren't really the most attractive, but with a simple app, all I have to do is close them, and that's with the app. They operate off the doors. So when I open the door, it'll open up and I can step on in, and when it closes, they go away, and my R1T still looks super beautiful. If you are interested in purchasing these side steps, you can use my link in the description. It is an affiliate link. I believe it also saves you some percent as well, so you can get these awesome side steps and save some money. Now, there was an entire setup process to get these to work, which I initially was scared by. I am not typically good with building things, but this, I think I set them up pretty well, and I think that's because they're actually pretty simple to install. So let me show you how they're installed. I have here in front of me the Hansshow retractable running boards for the Rivian R1T and R1S, and today we're going to unpackage them, install them, and I'm gonna show you how they work. Now, with your Rivian R1T or R1S, you can put it in kneel mode, which sets it to the lowest ride height, which allows easy access for getting in and out of the vehicle. But a lot of people still complain that the lowest ride height still isn't enough, especially for shorter people or even children. And so a lot of people end up installing running boards for their R1T or R1S. However, I think those are hideous, and so it's been hard for me to want to install running boards on my truck when I feel they just look so weird. This is where the Hansshow retractable running boards come in place. These are retractable running boards, and so I'm gonna have to connect this to the Rivian's wiring harness, but of course, when you open the vehicle, the running boards will come down. When you close the door, the running boards will go back up, and you have this nice, clean, hidden look for your running boards. Now, right here is the retractable running boards in this, I wanna say like 8-9 foot box. And yeah, let's just get right into it. Okay, so clearly we have the actual running boards here. Now let's see. Now these go across the entire length of the doors. So this will cover not only the driver's door, but the passenger door for both sides. Now it looks like we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 boxes which have all of the components from the brackets to the motor for these actual running boards. So let's open these up and see what's inside. In this box here, we have the wiring harnesses because of course this is a retractable running board and it needs to know when the doors are open or closed. So it has to connect to the wiring harness. It has an adapter and of course what connects to the actual running boards itself. This seems like a complicated process, but I've watched enough videos about these, and trust me, I don't think it will be, but we'll find out. So this box looks like the actual motor for retracting the running boards. So how this works is there's a bracket on each end of the running board, and then in the middle is the motor that actually retracts and puts out the running boards. More brackets, and zip ties for the wiring harness. So as I mentioned, these are the actual brackets that'll go on each end of the running board. This looks like the box for the right side, this side, and of course the other box is for the left side. Now the instructions say they want me to remove some plastic and remove some screws so I can then install the brackets. Now, regardless of whether you're installing the retractable electric running boards or you have the actual physical bulky ones, you're gonna have to do this anyway. So now I recommend putting your R1T or R1S in the highest ride height. So put it in off-road mode and then put the ride height to highest, and that's gonna give you the best ground clearance to be underneath your vehicle. Wow, okay. So this really just pops out like nothing, actually. Now I am gonna need some tools, so let's go Let's go get those. Now you'll need a 10mm hex socket, a 14mm hex socket, a 15mm hex socket, as well as a 17mm hex socket. And those are for the hex screws. When it comes to the Torx screws that Rivian uses, you're gonna wanna make sure that you are using Torx Plus bits. Rivian uses Torx Plus screws. Now, if you use a regular Torx bit that you may find at Home Depot, you are going to strip it. So make sure that you're using a Torx Plus bit. You're unlikely to find a Torx Plus set or bit at Home Depot. You're likely going to find it online. That's where I got my set from Amazon for like $15, $20. I'll have that linked in the description, but you're going to need a Torx Plus 55, a Torx Plus 20, as well as a Torx Plus 25. And those will be all that you'll need to unscrew all of the parts under your Rivian. Now to remove the panels, you're going to take the 10mm as well as the Torx Plus 20, and you're going to unscrew all of the bolts. Then you're going to take a flathead screwdriver. You're going to go behind the panels. You're going to pull the panels down gently. Then you're going to go into the panels. Don't pull them off yet. You shouldn't be tugging on anything. It should come down with ease. You're going to take the flathead and you're going to pull down each of those metal tabs that are in the outer side of the panel. Then once all of those are pulled out, it's going to be really easy. It's just going to fall in your hand. You shouldn't be pulling anything. Now, you're not going to put these panels back on. Once the running boards go on, these panels will not be able to go back on until you remove the running boards. So you're going to want to make sure that you put the panels as well as the screws that secure the panels in a secure place, a place that you're going to be able to find it if you do want to put them back on in the future. Now, once you have the plastic panel removed, the rest is pretty self-explanatory. You're going to take your Torx Plus 55-bit as well as your sockets, and you're going to remove the corresponding sockets that go alongside the running boards. You'll see this in your instruction manual. You're then going to line those hinges, the brackets, whatever you want to call them, as well as the motorized hinge, and you're going to attach them to the vehicle. You're going to have to screw them. Now, I recommend removing the Torx Plus 55 bits with a Torx drill, right? Something that has more power. You can also use a torque bar. That actually worked a little better for me to pull it off. It is basic lefty loosey, righty tighty. So left to loosen it and take them off, right to tighten it. Once you get those brackets back on, you might find it harder to then tighten them back. And you're going to want to tighten them to 80 pounds torqued. 80 pounds torque. That's what Rivian has them set to. That's you're going to want to have it set to, just, to be safe. And you might find it hard to do that in these tight spaces. And so I recommend having different sets of torque bars, torque drills, ratchets, something smaller, larger, to be able to fit in these smaller spaces so you're able to loosen as well as tighten these bits. Now, once you have all of the panels removed and you have the brackets finally installed, it's time to go in the front and remove the frunk tub. Yeah, you're going to have to remove the frunk tub. When you open your frunk, all that stuff, you're going to have to remove it. Now, it's pretty simple. You're first going to have to take off all of the plastic pieces that are in front. Those aren't held in by any screws. They're just clips. Don't force anything too hard. Just gently feel your way, right? Use your hands and just slowly pry it out. Now that's going to be for the front plastic trim and the plastic trim behind the tub. The plastic trim on the side of the frunk, like you see on screen, that's not going to move. That's not going to unclip anywhere. You'll be able to unclip it to like lift up and see under it, but you're not going to remove it all the way. Now the front tub, because it is electrically connected to the vehicle, right? The tub has a button, and it's the child safety button, right? If a child or person is stuck in the frunk, there's a button to open the frunk from inside. And so there is an electrical harness that is connected from the tub to the vehicle. You gotta disconnect it. Now, I had trouble disconnecting it. It's actually pretty simple. You'll see on screen here, it's a really simple process. Once you get that harness unplugged, you're then going to unscrew the frunk tub. You're going to use that 10mm socket, and you're going to remove the 6 screws holding the frunk tub in place. And then it's going to be pretty simple. All you're going to have to do is literally lift the frunk tub out, put it in a safe place alongside those screws, because you're going to have to put the frunk tub back in your vehicle and screw it in place, and then you're good to go. Then you're going to see this rubber piece here. This is the rubber seal along the Rivian firewall. You're going to unplug the rubber seal for now. Don't fully remove it. You're just going to open it just enough to see inside, and then we're going to come back to it later. Now we're going to go inside of your Rivian, and this is where things get pretty interesting. So we're going to have to unclip some of this plastic trim here, as well as unscrew it. You're going to need a TP25 to first unscrew the 2 screws that are directly underneath near the footwell. And then here, you're just going to have to pry it. Again, slowly. You shouldn't be just stripping things apart forcefully. Everything has a way, has some wiggle room. You see these scratches all on the plastic trim here. Don't worry, these come right off. You just take a wet rag and they go right away. But that's just a result of me moving the plastic trim out the way. Now that the plastic trim is out the way, you're going to see all of these wires. You're going to see these wiring harnesses. Now, the wiring harness you see here, it's the same wiring harness that you're going to see in your instruction manual. It's the same wiring harness that you're going to see in your instruction manual as well as the manual online. And you're going to unplug this Rivian wiring harness to plug in the sidestep wiring harness so it can piggyback the ECU. So essentially what this is doing is, because these sidesteps are automatic, it needs to know when the doors are opening and closing. This wiring harness here connects a lot of the vehicle, right? Everything from the motors, the frunk, it knows a lot about the vehicle. So when you unplug it, it'll actually give you a ton of warnings. The entire dashboard will light up like everything's wrong, but that's because the harness is unplugged. You're gonna plug back in this bridge, the wiring harness for these automatic side steps, and then you're gonna plug everything back in and everything will go back to normal. Again, essentially it's just piggybacking off of the Rivian's wiring harness. This is not voiding your warranty. You shouldn't be forcing anything. Again, everything has a way it's supposed to be removed. All you have to do to unclip the wiring harness is pull it back, kind of like a lid. You clip it back in, you close it, and then you're good to go. Now you're going to see this wire here, this red and black wire with these silver lines throughout it, as well as in this fish wire. And what you're going to have to do is you're going to have to unplug it. And now we're going to go back to the front, and you're going to feed this cord through the firewall that we just opened. Now, you're going to have to use a light and kind of finagle your way through, but you're just going to feed it through the firewall, and through about 1 or 2 pushes, you'll actually see it on the other side. You're going to pull it through the footwell. You're going to plug it back into the wiring harness, because this is what's going to be powering the side steps. This is what's going to tell the side steps to open and close. You're then going to put all your plastic panels back, make sure everything's tidy and neat. You're going to hide those wiring harnesses, right? It's longer now, and so it's going to be a little more tricky to make sure that everything fits. But if you just sneak it up toward the top, you can sneak it back up in there. You're going to clip everything back together, make sure that everything is going in its correct slot, and then you're going to screw those TP55 screws back in place, and then you are good to go. After all of that, your wires should be in the right places. All you have to do is connect the wires to your 12-volt battery to power the ECU, right? The steps have their own ECU to control when the steps open or close, right? That's pigging back off the harness. We now need to connect it to the 12-volt battery. Okay, so got this figured out. Got the ECU here. Of course, your positive red cable is going to go here. Your ground is going to go here. You're going to loosen these, and it'll just go underneath each of the terminals there. But got that done. I was also able to wire this behind the firewall. Actually, really easy. I went out and bought a fish wire to fish it through, but you don't need that. Literally just put it behind there, and in maybe 1 or 2 pushes, it's just gonna come out on the other side in the vehicle, and you'll see it come through here. Man, all right, bro. Look, if you're listening at this point, shout out to you, okay? Like the video, subscribe. If you have any questions, if you're not following along, swear, just DM me on any platform. If I don't respond, hit me up on another platform, just do it again. I swear, I try to answer everyone. I never try to ignore anyone. Just hit me up. Ask any questions. Like, I will help you get through this. You can also be remiss for me not to mention that you can go to Hansshow yourself. They have, I believe, 2 install centers. I know the main one's in like Southern California. And you can have them install this for some sort of fee. I don't think this is that hard to do yourself, but I know for some people, they don't want to go through this work, so you can just have them do it. Now, at this point, you should have the hinges, the motorized hinge installed. You should have already been in your Rivian. You plugged in the ECU. You added the wiring harness to the other wiring harness that Rivian has. You fed the cable through the firewall. You plugged it to your 12-volt battery on the right. Everything is good. Now you have these two wires that are in this plastic covering. It's kind of this weather stripping to protect it from the elements. And you're going to feed this, and this is through the frunk. You're going to feed this through the corners of the vehicle, so it goes through the ground, so you can then feed it underneath the vehicle to the motors. Now, there's a couple ways you can do this. You can get real janky, or you can do this professionally. You can, one, have it tight enough that there is no slack between the wire connecting to the motor, and if you want to put some sort of heavy-duty tape to tape it down, you can do that. Swear no one's going to see it. Or you can take the plastic panels off underneath the vehicle, some more panels, and you can actually hide the wire in the vehicle. That's what I did. It takes like another 20 minutes. You just unscrew it, you feed the wire, right, hide the wire behind, it goes up to the frunk, those wires again connect to the ECU. Then it's all hidden, right? So now those wires are connected to the motor. Now, the fun part. Okay, everything at this point should be working. I would test it out yourself. If everything's connected properly, if you open and close the doors, the motor should be working, right? There's no board on it yet, but it should be working. Now, we got to add the boards, okay? So you're going to take each board, and you're going to take the metal rectangles with holes in them, like screw holes, and you're going to fit them along all of the hinges. So one, at this point, you want to make sure that the motorized hinge is out. You want to manually pull out the other hinges, and you want to set the board on top. And you want to make sure those metal rectangles are in each of the slots of the hinge. Then you take a hex screw, and you just take the screws that come with the product. I'm tired at this point, guys, okay? You're going to screw it in, and boom. You're just going to screw it. It's tight. You don't want to go too tight, because if you go too tight, you're actually going to pierce the metal, and then it's going to create bumps. So don't go too tight, but just make sure that it's tight in, and that should be it. Once you tighten the running boards, should work. You open the door, they come out. Of course, throughout this, you want to test, the running boards to make sure that things are still working. At one point, I had to remove the interior plastic trim and reconfigure the harness, because the plastic was pinching one of the wires and it was preventing the harness from coming out. So throughout, you just want to test and make sure that things are still working, that things are connected. You want to make sure that you're tightening things properly, that you're just doing a good job, because this is your vehicle and this is going to be on the road. You want to make sure that what you're driving is secure and safe for you and the people on the road and the people who are going to be using your vehicle. If you have kids using the side step, you have your spouse, whoever, passengers, you want to make sure it's secure. Now, these side steps, if you have them in properly, all right, these things are like attached to the vehicle. They almost become structural at this point, because I'm able to like jump on them and it shakes the entire vehicle. All right, I'm able to like shake the vehicle from the side steps. I don't know what weight they're rated for, but they're rated for like 2 people on them at one point. I don't think they're rated to the point of you trying to jump your full force and like break them, but they're rated to hold the weight of people. So yeah. Now, as I mentioned earlier in the video, there is an app. It is called the Smart CTR app. It's going to be on your app store, Google Play Store. You download it. If the ECU is connected properly, it'll automatically have its own Bluetooth signal from that ECU. Right? That's why it's going to be plugged to the 12 volt. So the automatic steps can work, as well as for it to wirelessly work from Bluetooth. And once you download the Smart CTR app, there's going to be a signal. You're going to see your sidesteps come online. And your password is going to be 123456. You can change the password, but the default password is 123456. You're going to get in and you'll be able to do all kinds of things. You'll be able to lock the running board. So let's say you don't want the running boards coming in and out at some point, or let's say you want to keep them out at all times. You're able to do that. If you want to control them to come in and out from the app, so let's say you're trying to, like for me, wash the top of my car. I've been doing this now. I'm able to reach more of the vehicle without having to step on something. I'm not tall, guys. You're able to reach with the side steps. You can open them all the way and you can have them out, or you can hide them in at all times. Whatever you want to do, you can do that all within the app. And it makes things super easy, super seamless. I thought the app was actually like nice. It was like the latency is quick. Like as soon as you press it, it moves, and you're able to like play with it. So like you can press open and close, and it'll like kind of dance for you, like open, close, open, close, open, close. So yeah, the app actually works great. And yeah, yep, you should have these installed. Hopefully this video provided some information about how they work, how they're installed, if you are installing them. The online instructions are good. Hansshow has their own install video, which I found to be lacking some information, to be honest. The online instruction manual is good. The paper instruction manual that comes with it is lacking a lot of information. So I'm hoping that this video provides some context. As I've said a million times, guys, feel free to DM me, text me, whatever, reach out. I will gladly be happy to help you install this. Again, if you're looking to buy these running boards, you can use my affiliate link down in the description below. Thank you guys so much for watching. My name is Isaiah. This is Rivian Updates, and I will see you guys in the next one.